Hello and good afternoon. This one's a special report for YouTube. My name is Rachel Biarchi Guevara. That's my YouTube handle. Rachel Janine Venta Biarchi Fraga. That's my birth certificate. And if you go by my Oregon ID and birth certificate from Washington, well, not birth certificate, I apologize. You go by my social security and my Oregon state ID, it's Rachel Janine McCall. Now, as you guys all know, I have been siloed to the state of Oregon, specifically to the town of LaGrande, Oregon. I have reported several thefts. I have reported abuses. I have reported financial exploitation. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to sell a resource here, a copper blender, Warren copper blender, type they don't make anymore. But we only have one local antique store and they don't have any money. I've had money just recently stolen, and I don't have any money actually left. How they trap you here. Why they're doing this? Look at the demographics in the unsolved crimes. You can get those very easily if you have the money. Also, like I said, I had reported abuse from an ex, and then he ends up with a restraining order because he has the money. I've also shown proof of accounts tampering. My Amazon account before, when I was actually paying for it on my own through DHS funds that I was actually earning, they no longer have a date stamp attached to them. It's on my Facebook. Hopefully that won't fade away anytime soon, especially since phone is a bit of a risk right now. So that puts me up for, well, we know the end result. And it doesn't matter what I report. As a matter of fact, the mental health like to schedule me after hours without any without anybody there. And that's a male doctor, by the way. When I was taken down by the police, it was one security guard for the hospital and 3 police officers. They had me cornered. And when they had me, they knocked me over a chair, and one of them began to dry hump me. One of the police officers. I was not buckled into the car after they put me in the back. But I am grateful that they allowed my car to stay so I didn't have to deal with impound charges. That was a positive. I was not read my Miranda rights either. Judge Powers was a colleague of mine, and I do thank him and I appreciate the decision he made to release me. He read me my Miranda rights during that little VCon trial. And I appreciate the fact that he gave me the opportunity. But also with Miranda rights, there comes the civilian right to speak about what happened. I do know that there are laws passed where they have to wear cameras, plus not to mention the fact that this did happen in, the police have to wear cameras. So that's where there is a discrepancy between social service records and civilian records. I still have bruises on my wrists from the handcuffs. There's one right here. It's very faded, but it's still there. And that happened a little over a week ago. I have scuff marks on my elbows for where they roughed me up to get me over that chair. I mean, that's a pretty ominous sign for a small community that you've lived in for 33 years. That a family that has more money by the name of Sherman can take over so quickly because I'm an in-law to these people, to the locals, even though I've been here for 33 years. Helped them through tough times as well. I do not agree with the fact that I cannot contact my children. I do not agree with the fact that I can't even contact my mother because my stepfather withholds her funds too. He makes more money than she does. And that is the truth. It's about gender, money, resources, and how to cut them off. because I am not, and because I'm a woman, I'm not allowed to have an extroverted personality unless I A, have familial or friendship connections, or B, am a male. I am hoping that these accounts do not get chopped up by the valet key. The person who I cannot contact, that has a restraining order against me. The one that choked me, sent me to the hospital with a possibly fractured collarbone last spring. There are x-rays. I reported it. That's why I didn't report the wrist from the police officer, because nothing ever gets done. Civilian records should count. Not to mention the fact that I do have some positive government records before this abusive relationship took over this community and my life. I do not owe them my life. And why they think I do? I tried to build bridges out of poverty, only to be exploited each time. There is damage with those accounts being stolen. This information, being a Guevara, would have been much easier for the locals to handle. And not once did I ever abuse it or act like I was too good to help. But now I have to cut off my good-naturedness of helping people, because that is unfortunately now become a weakness. Because I have no funds, I have no resources, and no anything. And I hate having to do that, because that goes against so much in me. I appreciate your time for taking and watching this, but if you're going to be a voyeur, show up. I challenge you guys to show up. If you're watching this, show up. I'm calling you out. You can't take away an American's civil rights to this extreme without there being some form of repercussions. So either the damage has been done, or I have to stay here and have no resources. That's a lose-lose situation. And I'm not the one that's digging out my resources because I want to. I'm digging out resources because they've left me with no resources but my very few.